$27,000 is what we got on the last deal in May. And then a couple of months back, we did another FSBO flip, and that was $38,000. So we had
$38,000 on a traditional FSBO flip. 38 grand. Hey everyone, this is Michael Matthew with Little Pink Houses of America. I'm talking to you right now from the dog, which we joke internally about our internal studio here. We've got a great setup behind us. Love the Nelson Rockefeller quote. If you can't read it, it says, "The secret to success is to own nothing but control everything." So I love that quote. We live by that credo here. As you know, we do the executive lease purchase program, which is control without ownership, and it is a no money, no credit deal. We've got the beautiful Ton Michelle here, one of our affiliates from Atlanta, Georgia, or our best affiliate from Atlanta, Georgia, rather. We're here in Jacksonville, Florida this week. I flew in from Oklahoma City. We've got a great group that is just really getting out of the gate with us. Ton has ultimately knocked it out of the park over the last couple years and has developed into a coach. And I wanted to bring her on just to kind of get her take on the folks that we've got. Now we've are just getting back to, kind of on-site visits from folks. So we've got a few people that flew in from the West Coast. We've got a ton of folks that are online right now that are just getting started with us. So she needs no introduction. All of you know her at this point. We've got the beautiful Ton Michelle here. Ton, what's your take on the week? We're in day 2 right now.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, it is so exciting, Michael, to have a group of live people with us and someone virtual for the first time in a couple of months. So with COVID-19 and now where we are today, it is terribly exciting. So I'm really hyped up to have these people with us.
You feel good about the group at this point?
Very good. And also they're very, very savvy. So I don't know what happened. COVID-19 has made people more savvy.
Well,
or they got better training than I did during my day.
well, you didn't need a whole lot of training. You came in pretty savvy yourself. But I think the moral of the story is a lot of people are doing a lot more online research right now. They've got a lot more downtime at home. So they're ultimately going out and doing the research on obviously their own behalf before they get involved with us. What were your takeaways, a day and a half into your first corporate training compared to how it is now? Has the company evolved with the training? Is it the same? Is it better? Give us the down and dirty.
You know what? We've taken the COVID-19 downtime to look at our training. And what we've done is we've done a little switch. We've now put all the numbers and the formulas up front. So that gets everybody so excited about doing deals. So we're getting you to learn to do deals straight away rather than learning all the whys and wherefores and then do deals later, because we got a little tired come the 3rd day and 4th day. So our team, the last 2 teams I've noticed, are so excited. They're so keen to do the deals and they're carving great deals. I wish that I was starting now. I would carve even better wonderful deals.
Well, I don't know how you could do that. So talk about your recent experience with PINK. You've been with us now about 2 years. Yes. You've taken a little bit of downtime, rightfully so. You like to vacation, just like we all do. So you are not beholden to a job, but you did come ultimately, originally from a W-2 world. You've been a world-class trainer literally all around the world. So that's not a light statement. What has your experience been with 2 years in? Do you have regrets? Do you have trepidation still? And let's talk about the money.
Really? Okay.
So you brought your tax statements, right?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So guys, very exciting. So I was born and bred in Singapore, so I worked in Singapore and then I lived most of my life in Australia. So yes, I'm a national trainer. I've built 2 or 3 businesses in Australia, and training was part of my job as a national trainer. So very exciting to do business here in Atlanta the last few years. So I've only been here since 2019. So I've been here for 2.5 years. I knew that to become good, I've got to be the foot soldier. I've got to go out and get my hands dirty and learn this business and master it. So if I can do that and get good at it, then I can get back into training, which is what I like to do as well. So I like it both. I like doing my business and I like coaching as well. Mm-hmm. So I've come to the stage where I've got my dream job in that sense, right? First year was tough, yes. Learning was tough in a new market, in a new country with new roads and everything else. Second year was great. Unbelievable that in COVID-19 I did better than my first year where there wasn't COVID-19.
Well, let me hit pause here, guys. We always talk about, and I always talk about often about, we have a very inelastic business model, not to interrupt Tom, but I want to really make a strong point here. Guys, in good markets and in bad markets, we're going to thrive. She's a living, walking testimonial that during the worst pandemic in the history of the world, maybe outside of the bubonic plague, and there's some others that have been hundreds of years ago. You actually made more money, just to be clear, than you did the previous year?
Yes, I did. So let's just put this in perspective. First year is always tough, so I was less experienced, less wiser, but I did well, okay, for my first year. My second year, I pretty much doubled my income during the COVID year, and I can't believe it. I think partly to do is I've had a bit of experience because of a tough first year gave me a lot of experience. So there's a good and bad in having a good or a tough year. If I had a great first year, I may not have learned as much. I might have been just beginner's luck, right? Had a really tough year, learned a lot. Second year, went in with my eyes open, so much wiser in the kind of houses, the kind of inventory I was going to have, the kind of buyers, the kind of sellers, how I communicate. So my second year, I only sold 8 houses, but that made me something like $160,000. So understand
again,
that.
I'm gonna have you hit pause. So 8 houses, $160,000, and you said you did it in a kind of quasi part-time capacity.
Yes, absolutely. But understand that at my old age of 35, I didn't want to work.
So I'm older than you are. I just turned 36. That's great.
I didn't want to work day and night. I've done that in the corporate world in my last life. So I want it to be easy. So I thought if I did one every 2 months or one, every other month or once a month, I'll be very happy. So after a very hard year, I decided to take all what I learned and be working smarter and wiser. So, and the great thing about COVID-19 is the houses I get, guess what? They just went very quickly because the market's different now, right? It is a seller's market. So while it might be harder to get a house, the minute you get it, it goes so quickly. So that's how I sold every house in last year.
And now you've been doing a lot of traditional deals. If you don't mind kind of breaking that down and kind of how the corporation as a whole has pivoted?
Yes. So you know what, COVID-19, we've all had to pivot, learn new lessons, and learn to survive. So while we specialize in executive lease purchases, which is fantastic, and we have a lot of people, we are also able to help people who may not necessarily want to do executive lease purchase. And they say, Tan, well, I just want to sell outright. Will you do that for me? Yes, of course. We can do that for you too. So that's how we've pivoted to doing FSBO flips, which is for sale by owner flips. Okay, that is similar to your wholesaling, except we're doing with pretty houses.
High-end wholesaling.
Exactly. Yep. So how difficult it is, and many of my sellers are saying, well, if I can sell it, just sell it for me. But I'm happy to do the executive lease purchases as well because that renders me more money. I mean, for the owners. And so very often we'll market both ways. And then people will come to us and say, oh, look, I love this house. I want to buy it outright. I'm pre-qualified. Can I do it? Absolutely. And we will teach you how to do it because that's way easier. And we can do that under the for sale by owner label as well.
So let's talk about, success means something different to everyone. So some people come on board with us and they want to be kind of the one-man show. Some people ultimately want to scale and do volume. Where do you fall in that spectrum? And what does your team look like? What does your day-to-day look like?
Okay, so I've evolved to having a few people around me taking all the laborious work for me off my hand. So I have somebody that calls for me, but I always do the final call with the seller, the second call, because I want to build a rapport with them and to go and get the contract myself with the sellers. With the buyers, I always see the buyers myself. However, I do have a marketing assistant and I also have a VA that works for me or
What's
works
a VA?
with me. A virtual assistant. Okay, I have 2 virtual assistants. One is in the Philippines and one is locally. So I use them to do different things, to do research for me on the comps and things like that. I just don't want to use my time. I'd rather be having FaceTime with my buyers and sellers, and that's what I do best. And that's what I want to do. The other thing is, of course, I've got a role at corporate, being a director of the affiliates as well in the coaching capacity. So for me to be able to enjoy both, I've had the luxury of 2 years of learning and therefore being able to be more specific and target in my work with the business and also to be able to spend time with corporate to transfer what I learned to all the affiliates out there.
No, I appreciate you breaking that down for us. A lot of people that are looking at coming on board are, kind of thinking and talking about, what does a day in the life look like? Can I scale? What does that business model look like? Now, you came to us and refreshed my memory, and you can kind of give a small backdrop there. You came in from a coaching scenario, and you kind of cut your teeth wholesaling, correct?
Yes, when Michael say coaching scenario, it means that when I came to America in 2017-18, I brought in a coach, all right? I engaged a coach to teach me about real estate investing because I know nothing about America, people. We don't even have African Americans in Australia, and I want to know how what the culture is like. How do I communicate? It's a different language. Well, not quite different, but English means different things to different people. So you probably hear my accent that I'm, had English education. So. And
you've been here a few years, and most jokes still fly right over your head.
Exactly. Also, I live a pretty sheltered life, so, and also, I speak another language, too, so often I think in 3 languages at one time. Now, the coaching life simply means that I had a coach for 1 year to teach me real estate, and we started off wholesaling, as most coaches will start you off with wholesaling.
So, just basic real estate investing 101.
Yes. But the funny thing is that even though I signed a contract with my coach to do wholesaling, the few houses we got in the beginning were not suitable for wholesaling because my coach thought that we could make a lot more money by buying, fixing, and holding, or buying, fixing, and selling. And I ended up doing for 3/4 of a year, buying, fixing, and holding. And it's only through the last quarter of the year of my coaching year that I paid for that I learned wholesaling. So I did a bit of everything. So that was a nice smorgasbord to touch and then be able to see what I like about real estate investment strategies and which one I don't like, what I want to get involved in and what I didn't want to get involved in. So as a result of having worked with contractors and distressed houses, when PINK came along, that I don't have to deal with contractors, I don't have to outlay this huge amount of money and worry about my investment and how long it's going to take, and not having to manage contractors, I jumped into PINK.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Oh, thank you so much. You never said that to me before.
I know. I hate paying you compliments. Almost more than anything in my life, I hate paying you compliments.
He's a hot task driver.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. So let's talk about the money. Okay, so you are certainly the cream of the crop, and we don't say that lightly. Again, hate the compliments, but on an average deal, between the just lease purchase deals, obviously you've done a lot of those over the last couple of years. You're now doing a lot more of the FSBO flips like we talk about, which is that kind of high-end wholesaling model. What are you making?
Yeah, so to put in perspective, I do probably about 1/3 of my deals are FSBO flips, okay, because the market demands it. And all we do is we just articulate or pivot around it. And PINK is really good like that because PINK is a specialist in real estate investment strategies. So we have many ways.
The Swiss Army knife, right?
Yeah, the Swiss Army knife. There's many ways that lead to Rome, right? So executive lease purchase is certainly our core business. So with the FSBO flips, the traditional deals, in other words, I do about 1/3 of it. Now, as far as money is concerned, the lease purchases and my FSBO flips, there's not much difference in the money, but at least executive lease purchases, usually you can make a lot more money. You can easily make $20,000 to $30,000. My average is about $25,000 to $30,000 for each executive lease purchase when you add all the benefits from the 5 profit centers. That's what we're talking about. In my FSBO flips, I have experienced, my last deal was 27, which was in May.
And $27,000 on a traditional deal.
Yeah, and think about that. And that's why I never wanted to be a realtor with respect to all realtors. I don't like the fact that I'm being capped at 3%. So that same deal with a house at $250,000, as a realtor, I will only get $7,000. That doesn't entice me at all. There's no challenge to it.
I don't get out of bed for $7,000.
Oh, I thought you don't get out of bed for $12,000.
I don't.
Anyhow, so $27,000 is what we got on the last deal in May. And then a couple of months back, we did another FSBO flip, and that was $38,000. So we had
$38,000 on a traditional FSBO flip. $38,000. I mean, again, I hate,
That's all on paper.
giving you kudos. I hate giving you compliments, but I'm going to go ahead and give you another one here.
Yes.
Keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
But $38,000, often, to put in perspective, it just doesn't come naturally, or it's usually with issues around the house, or we need to deal with the sellers and the buyers in a different way, and there are a little bit more challenges around the way.
And let me hit pause here. Let's kind of dive into that. So in the investment world, normally you're dealing with distressed properties, right? And that's what you dealt with in the past before you came to PINK. You're dealing with people that are underwater. You're having to go in and do rehab work. What are those? Are any of those in the equation with PINK? Are you having to take money out of your own pocket? Are you having to fix up houses? Are you having to catch up back payments? People that are out there watching that are looking at potentially getting involved, that capital risk, putting money on the table to go in there and do a rehab, that's a daunting task for many people, especially if they're a newbie. Right?
Yes, and when I was a newbie, yes, I did put $80,000 into a house. Well, lucky for me, that all went very well just before the difficult time came in when all the contractors were doing really bad work. I wasn't in that period, so I got out of it nicely. What I love about PINK is that I'm a bad loser. I don't like putting money out. I don't want to lose $1, so I don't even go gamble. I'm a bad loser. So I love that I don't have to put money out, and I don't have to take any risk. What is the loss to me? If the house doesn't sell for whatever reason, I just give it back to the owners and give it back to the sellers. Right? There's nothing to lose there. I mean, okay, I work, but in every business you have to work. So that's what I love about it. I don't have to deal with dirty houses because these are nice houses. And my sellers are normal people. They're not depressed. They're not, unhappy. They're not, down and out. And we can have a normal conversation and build a relationship just like that. And I don't feel as though we have to push them for the lowest price, like in distressed homes when people are already in a tough situation, and here we are pushing them even further.
So you don't feel like you're necessarily taking advantage of someone in a bad situation,
exactly.
And you're dealing with a higher caliber seller based on price points and a higher caliber buyer.
Yes. It feels so respectable, like so, and the best part is
you can look at yourself in the mirror every morning and feel good about doing business.
And you feel good about doing your hair, doing your face, because you know that you're going to meet normal, nice people, right?
Yeah, I forgot to do my face. I know. Forgot to do my face.
That's fine.
Yeah.
The best part also is that, don't forget this, the service we're providing to those people, so many good people out there who just can't get a loan right now, but they're excellent people, okay? Great, nice people out there. And for us to be able to help them get a property through a lease purchase, my goodness, that really makes my day. That joy is priceless. I can't put a price to that.
Now, there's nothing wrong with making money. Profit is not a bad word. We don't have a steeple in our front yard. You don't have one in yours. But when you can make money and good money, but you're doing business with integrity, you're doing right by all people, obviously that's what we try and accomplish in every deal that we do. A couple other questions here, and then I'll let you run. Your phone is probably blowing up trying to do deals right now. Who would this not be for? So you've been in this for a couple years. Who would you disqualify? Someone that's watching the video right now that you think, just based on character traits or characteristics, who would you say that this would not work out for? What kind of folks would those be? Because most people, this is not going to be a great fit for. Let's be honest. Most people, this is not a great fit. We're only looking for a select few people in markets. We want the right partners. We want people that are only going to do business one way, and that's the right way. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. If you think you're going to roll out of bed, and work 2 hours a day and make $1 million, move on. We're not the right fit for you. So if you could kind of elaborate on that, Ton, just based on your couple years with us, who would you want to eliminate if they're watching, at home right now?
Okay. So
who would you tell to eliminate themselves, rather?
Okay. We don't want you to eliminate yourselves because you might discover something interesting about yourself, something new about yourself, right? Even though we talk about $38,000, $27,000, sounds like a lot of money, but we make no apology for the money we make, okay? Because we bring so much joy to our sellers and buyers that our buyers are so thankful to us. And the sellers never ever ask me how much money did you make out of this deal? They don't care because they got what they wanted. We honored them, okay? And it's that relationship. So the moment I get houses referred to by the sellers that I've worked with before, so that makes my job easier, okay? That I don't have to work as hard scouring the market where everyone else is scouring the market. So at the end of the day, who is this not for? First of all, you got to enjoy life. Do you love life? Okay. Do you like adventure? Do you like taking risks? Would you enjoy the challenge? Do you like doing deals, negotiating?
Deal junkie. Right?
Yeah. I just shot mine. So you must like the excitement, the thrill of success. Do you like the thrill of success? Well, this is very edgy, can be very edgy sometimes. So when we talk about big money, it doesn't come easy like that. It means that we've had a bit of experience. We liaise a lot with corporate. We bug them all the time. How do you do this deal? What's the thing I should say? What's the next step I should do? So you work very closely with corporate when you have deals and your coaches so that you maximize the use of them to maximize your profit. Okay, we're all here to use each other. Okay, let's face it. So let's just move on with it. And this is a business, and this is your business. You're entitled to seek all the help that you can get. So you gotta love the idea of negotiating, okay, and doing business, trying to be savvy or learning to be savvy. Being an entrepreneur, do you have a wish for that? If you do not have any entrepreneurship or business savviness or acumen, and everything to you is black and white, it gets very difficult because we're talking about you're in the people business and there's no two people that are the same. So you want to be able to articulate, navigate, pivot, have a lot of grace, room for negotiating back and forth, give and take, all right? And it helps if you like people too, okay? If you don't like people, it's really hard, okay? Because not everybody's like us. They don't know much about what we do. So we're in the area of we're in the field of educating people, telling them or bringing them to what's best for them. Often they don't even know, all right? So if you're a person that I like to work 8 hours, I'm going to put in my 8 hours and I expect a certain amount of money, that's not business. That's a W-2 job. You can go to W-2, have a cup of coffee, sit there all day and dream and nobody's watching you, you still get paid. Well, but there's no thrill in that at all. No thrill of, making more than you. I love the idea of there's no ceiling to what I can make.
And that's a very astute point, so there's no cap on that. If being an entrepreneur was easy, everyone would do it.
Exactly,
right? So most people just don't have the gumption or determination to actually go out there and kind of forge their own way. Obviously, I could never work. I haven't worked for anyone ever.
Yes, I like the risk, okay? The thing is that even if it's big money, it won't come unless you work very hard. So you have to work hard. You have to want to work, and not what do you say? Every little thing that happens, you recoil and you give up. It's not for the meek and mild, and not for the timid. All right. It's a big bad world out there. There's a lot of competition out there, but that's the way with business, restaurants, everything else. There's competition. So you've got to be tough and you've got to have staying power. If you don't have staying power and you tell yourself, I give myself 2 months, well, you don't even want to start. You've got to give yourself 3 to 5 years. You're a good year 2 to learn, and you're good, you learn to make in the 3rd year, and then the sky's your limit, even though I don't want to do that much work, but certainly you can scale it to do that once you've got the experience.
Well, you're a living testimonial, walking testimonial of what success can look like with this business model. You're well into 6 figures every year at this point, and it's just a pleasure to have you on here. A pleasure to have you here at Corporate Training as the liaison between corporate and the affiliates. So if y'all are thinking about coming on board with us and you like this lady right now, which I can't imagine you would not, this would be someone that you could work hand in hand with day to day, obviously in conjunction with corporate. So, Tan, as always, just blessed to have you on our team.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your time this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
I know you've got some butts to kick down there, so we'll let you run back.
Well, thank you, everybody. Good luck, and use us as much as you need to, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.